with Angie King, who is the Senior Vice President of Wholesale Operations and the LA Kings' biggest fan. Angie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Kevin. Wonderful to see you.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I want to ask you about the LA Kings. So how far does that go back? How long have you been a Kings fan, and how do you feel about where they're at this year?
Well, I don't want to give you my age now, but a Kings fan, oh gosh, for a good 30 years.
Yeah.
Always been my team. Love hockey, just love hockey.
Yeah.
My daughter actually played ice hockey for 10 years.
Cool.
And so lots of travel, lots of stuff to
Yeah.
do. Hockey is a good little family. So yeah,
Awesome.
that's my thing.
That's really cool. So now you're obviously you're the head of the wholesale operations department, and for those of you who don't know, Mountain West, we have a retail and a wholesale channel, and so if you could just explain to me, on the wholesale side, what you're doing to make sure that the turn times are good and that everything is getting done properly, kind of, and maybe some of the challenges that you face and how you've handled them.
So as a wholesale division, when I started with Mountain West 16 years ago, that's all we did was wholesale. I had one retail office way back 16 years ago. And so we already had that family behind us. So taking over the wholesale division has been a pleasure for me because I know a lot of those brokers from just way back when I first started with them.
Yeah.
Getting turn times down, obviously, I know that's our market, right? Being able to have a smooth process for closing for our broker partners is a huge thing.
Yeah.
My focus on there is creating a family within that broker community, right? They have to be our family, not just a broker partner that's in its one loan here and there. Even those types of situations, it's still a family. They're still part of us. We're still closing that loan for their borrower,
Right.
and that's our turn times are reflective of that, and we strive to improve that. We strive to improve the process to get those turn times at acceptable levels, and we don't stop with that. We are continuously looking at our process to see what can we do better to make it better all around. And that focus, that is our.
That's awesome. Yeah, and again, I don't want to. You talked about not wanting to date yourself, right? But how long have you been with Mountain West?
16 years.
16 years.
It'll be 17 in June of this year.
In June. Awesome.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I'm curious because I'm fairly new to Mountain West, and what was your first interactions like with the company 16 years ago, and what was it like back then, and how has it kind of maintained that culture now?
So back then, I was hired as an underwriter. Underwriting has always been my passion, and so Carla Ferguson, who's now retired but still on the board of directors with us, she was who interviewed me. Along with Mike Douglas, who actually retired, but he was the owner of the company at the time. Just a family little feel. Mountain West at that time was more of a smaller lender. We had, I think, 5 people in underwriting at the time. It was a small, little venture, but I automatically got that feel of they interacted very well. They knew where they were going, and that's what, through the 16 years of working for Gary and Mike, they have never stopped. They always look for the future. They've always never been complacent with, okay, this is where we're going to be and this is where we're going to stay. It's always, where are we going to go next? And I appreciate that because it gives everybody the opportunity to grow within the company, grow with the family. We've just grown so much in so many different aspects, and culture is the number one key for this family. It really is. And I'm going to tell you a little story. We have a Halloween event that we do every year, and unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we couldn't do it last year. But that little program started with I think 5 little kids coming in and having punch and cookies and dressing up in their costumes. And that has grown to every department putting in the time to decorate, to have these kids come through and trick or treat with us as a family. And it's not just our employees bringing their families, but they're bringing in their grandkids and their, extended family. And it's just so awesome to see.
That
And
is awesome.
those families that we don't see their kids on a day-to-day basis, we get to see them yearly and see them grow. And oh, it's just a fantastic little thing. So family is huge to Mountain West. And yeah.
That and that's what the sense that I've gotten, right, as I've joined. I'm for those of you who don't know, I'm all the way out in Virginia, and they make me feel like I'm a part of the team. So that shows the power of, culture is always, it's an overused word, I think, in a lot of ways, and people don't know how to define it.
Mhm.
In that they it's kind of used as a talking point, but Mountain West really has it. So
Yep.
it's important to mention. That's really cool.
I
So it
think
started how it started out with five little kids, and now it's a big operation.
right, huge.
It's
It's
kind of
huge.
like the operations department, like the
Yes,
underwriting. Yeah.
right. We started with 5 in underwriting, and look at us now. So yeah, a whole wholesale division and retail division. It's just amazing how we've
That's
grown
awesome.
and adapted. So yeah.
So what loan programs right now are I know there's the fast
Mhm.
forward program that it seems to be really catching on. Would you mind touching on that just a little bit?
Sure. So we do a hybrid of the fast forward. So, Fannie came out with their day one certainty, right, where they give reps and warrants and you get a written BOE. And if the income makes sense to them based off that BOE, you go with it, right? And within a certain timeline, right? They have expiration dates to everything. But
Yeah.
uh, so we've done a little hybrid of that. We definitely want that business to be able to close those loans quickly for those borrowers, that are looking to refinance or even purchase, right? It's a fast forward loan. So limited documentation, there's certain parameters on it, but overall, we want to get those loans closed rather quickly, like any loan. But fast forward definitely is a pickup for us on the wholesale side.
Yeah.
Uh, Looking forward to many, many more loans that way. I know we had, we could close those loans in a week to 2 weeks, and sooner if we can, right? Some of those loans come in, they're right to docs, so there's no waiting time. So we're looking forward to many, many more of those loans.
Awesome. Well, last question for you. I see that picture right behind you,
Yes,
like the two. It's the boy and the girl. Is that your?
those are my grandbabies.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
I love that picture because it's funny. So they're both looking at each other and they're smiling.
Yeah.
And what had happened is the photographer asked him to give her a kiss. And so they both turned to look at each other and he was like, no,
I know I'm doing that.
laughing. And he caught that moment. And that just is dear to my heart. It's like
Oh,
they weren't willing to go that far. They love each other, but like,
yeah.
no,
Yeah.
not gonna kiss you, babe.
That song with the sister, I understand. I
Yeah.
understand. Yeah. Angie, thank you so much for your time. And I
Yeah,
look forward to meeting you next week when I come visit the corporate office as well. And again, I can't thank you enough. And you have beautiful grandchildren as well. So thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye bye.